Pretty much the outline how it's gonna go. I brought the wrong book though. Pretty much the outline how it's gonna go. I brought the wrong book though. Damn. I hate when I do this shit.
NightOutHipHop.com.
Yeah. Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, number one chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion.
What's up? What's up? Back by popular demand. After the Buzzer Show with Lee Jones, I got my guy, Real Leo, back in the house. What's happening, Leo?
What's up, man? I'm ready for this show. Obviously, my Knicks 1 game away, so I'm representing New York in the building. It's all good, baby. We out here, man. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Look, guys, we got a great show today. Look, my native New Yorker, the Real Leo, he's excited. But we gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the Eastern Conference and the Knicks versus the Cavs, Game 3. We want to jump into that, and I'm going to get Leo's opinions about Game 3. He'll get mine as well. We're also going to talk about the second question I'm going to ask off of that Eastern Conference Finals is, are the New York Knicks historically this good, or are they benefiting from a weak Eastern Conference? I definitely want to get your opinions about that. And we're also going to jump over to the Western Conference, talk about the Spurs and the Thunder. You know, what's really going on in that series. We'll look back at Game 3, talk about Game 4 tonight and where we think the series is going to go and going to end. Want to ask the question to you, Lil. Is SGA getting a friendly whistle? You know, a lot of talk is online about that. People are talking about that. Is he getting a friendly whistle? I got my thoughts. I want to get yours. And then the final topic we want to throw out there is the Giants quarterback, New York Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart, over the weekend introduced President Trump at one of his rallies. Abdul Cater, first round draft pick last year as well, took offense to that, made some comments. I'm going to play that video. I'm going to show the tweet that Abdul Cater had, and then Lil, I want to get your opinion. You're from New York as well. I'm definitely want to get it out to you and your fans and see what's going on. So it's a great show, jam-packed show as always, guys. Please like, subscribe to the show. Hit us up. We definitely want your comments because this is going to be a fire show. Let's go, Lil. Let's jump right into it. Is
your Facebook live? You got Facebook on here, YouTube on here? Because I'm only seeing my
Facebook. All of it.
All right, perfect. I want everybody to listen to the show because it's going to be a good one.
Look, he's pumped because the Knicks have not been to the finals since they went in 84. They hadn't won since 1972. So he's pumped. So we're going to jump right into it. Game 3 last night, Lil. Just the Knicks continue to do what the Knicks do. I'm going to throw it out to you. What were your thoughts about the game last night? Do you think it's going to be a sweep? And if the Knicks sweep the Cavs, what does it say about the floor is yours, sir?
Yeah, definitely. I really wanted to bring my broom with me on the show. I ask my niece to bring it down. I might give her a text to bring down the broom. All right, because guess what? We're gonna be sweeping. We're gonna be doing more sweeping than a minimum wage worker. Okay, at a restaurant. I mean, look, the reality is, and I just want to big up my Knicks, man. It's been some hard times, man. It's been some hard times, and only the real ones can relate. Only the Knicks fans can relate to the pain. People see us from outside and they look at us like we these idiots. Like look at these guys climbing on traffic lights and acting up and teabagging alumni that play for our team. I mean, listen, it's pain. What you're seeing is pain. And to have this moment cannot be underestimated. I'm on cloud 9. But if we get to the game, and I want to talk about these games, because in Game 2, I thought the Cavaliers, they won the majority of the battles, right? They won the free throw battle, 32-14. They won the rebounding battle, 42-13, and yet we still won the game. Yet Josh Hart, they left him so wide open, and Josh Hart made them pay. And in this game, we dominated Cleveland in the transition points. We had a lot of transition points. I believe it was 30-10. And when you're not able to get out in transition, when you do get out in transition, if you're the Knicks, it leads to open shots. The Cavaliers can't set up their defense, and they wasn't able to do so. So to me, if I had to give a biggest takeaway, Lee, my biggest takeaway is that the Cavaliers need more from Donovan Mitchell and their outside shooting. Their outside shooting if they want to win. They need more from Sam Merrill. They need more from Dean Wade. He's not playing like Dwayne Wade. He's playing like, I don't know what type of Wade he's playing, but he's not playing how he's supposed to be playing. And when you look at the matchup, I thought Jalen Brunson, of course, he always outperforms Donovan Mitchell on the big stage. 3 postseason matchups between the two guys, and Jalen Brunson has outperformed him in all 3 matchups. And it's funny because they're like the same guy. They both undersized. They both can't defend at an elite level. But the little things is what separates them. The little things is why Jalen Brunson is a better overall player than Donovan Mitchell with his relentless attack in the mid-range game, setting up his teammates. He had 14 assists in game 2. He made it do what it do. And in this game 3, Donovan Mitchell had 5 turnovers in the game. Mobley has been dominant. Jared Allen, 17 points. I mean, I take that every time from Jared Allen. He did that last night, but Cleveland wasn't hitting open shots, and Donovan Mitchell lacked that burst. So when you don't have that explosion to collapse the defense, when you're not shooting, it doesn't give Jared Allen a lot of space to even be more impactful in the game. So, yeah, to me, that's my takeaway. The Cavs need more from Donovan Mitchell and their outside shooting, and the New York Knicks is about that action.
Yeah, I mean, you made some great points, but from my major takeaway is what I was saying all along about Donovan Mitchell. Look, you're the guy. You're supposed to be the guy on Cleveland's team, and I mean, look, he said he wasn't hurt. He looked like he was hurt, but he said he wasn't hurt. So I'm gonna go by what he says. He's not hurt. He's moving slow. There's no explosion from him, and then Leo, he just fades for large periods of the game. In game 2, when they needed him the most, he was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. He wasn't even taking shots. And so he's supposed to be the alpha dog on the team. He's not bringing it. And it's sad. And then when you throw it to James Harden, look, first of all, Harden has lost a step. That is clear. Now, he shoots the floater. He gets in the lane every now and then. But the old James Harden that would beat you off the dribble and go to the line 9-10 times a game, that James Harden is in the retirement home. He's resting right now. So he's gone. He's a shell of himself, and his jumper is not falling. So when you look at the best 2 players supposedly on that team, and I'll throw Mobley. Mobley's been having a good series. But I'll throw Mobley, and I would like to see Mobley in the post more. He likes to drift around that 3-point line and shoot some threes, but I like to see him in the post more. But Harden and Mitchell, that's the reason they're losing the series. The role players are coming up. Those guys, now they didn't make threes in game 3 like they were shooting in the first 2 games. But when you're not getting anything really from Mitchell and Harden, there's no way you can win the series. And we talked about it on your show, Lil. This was the perfect matchup for the Knicks. They don't stretch you defensively at all. And it's an up and down game where, Cavs are they're going to get hot. Mitchell may get hot for a spell, but then they fall off. And that's what's happening in the series. And it looks like the Knicks are a juggernaut. And the Cavs are just staying there just to get swept. So what are your thoughts? What are your follow-up thoughts on that?
Well, we don't look like a juggernaut. We are a juggernaut. Okay? Let me make that very clear, Mr. Lee. We are a juggernaut. We don't look like it. Okay, we're not actors here. We play real life basketball, and that's what we've been doing this whole entire playoffs. And to me, what I look at the Cavaliers as a defeated team. That game 1, where they was up 22 points with 7.5 minutes left to go in the game. I ain't gonna lie, I threw in the towel. Even though I'm a Knicks fan, I threw in the towel. I'm like, listen, I got work in the morning. Let me catch up on some sleep. And as soon as I was about to go to bed, as soon as the lights was out, night, God said, let there be light. I said, let there be dark. I was getting ready to go to bed. I got a text from my guy, Kenny, and he was like, yo, Jalen Brunson is cooking. So I'm like, why would he send me that when we getting our butts whooped? So I checked the score. I see we was down by 4. and I turn on the TV for some more. And listen, they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't stop us. So after that game, after that comeback, we just took their hearts out. And they just looked defeated. You got Donovan Mitchell after game 3 with a smirk on his face. You know, like it's almost like he's actually working for us right now. I mean, he got a smirk on his face after the game. I mean, James Harden just whoop-de-doo whistling, whistling Dixie. You don't give a damn. Okay, he really don't. And I'm just looking at the team. Kenny Atkinson, I saw a video of him today talking about, well, analytically, we won 2 out of the 3 games.
Look,
these guys are shot. They shot. And we've been doing that to teams. We did the same thing to Philly. They're shot, right? We did the same thing with the Hawks. They didn't even know what hit them when they was up 2-1. So we got to give the Knicks some credit.
Yeah, game 1, Mitchell faded again. Again, it's the same playbook. Mitchell fades down the stretch. He's nowhere to be seen. Harden can't score. And those are supposedly your 2 best players. You're not going to win any games like that. And they've choked away this entire series. Game 1, look, you could have – it wasn't a death threat to lose game 1. It was shocking, but you should have won it. You should have came back from game 1 enthused about being up 22 with 7-8 minutes left. We was kicking their butts. So instead of coming back like that, you come back in game 2 and Mitchell is nowhere to be seen. And then at home for game 3, you just really didn't show up. So very disappointed in the Hawks. With the Cavs. But I kind of figured that when we talked about it, the Knicks would win in 5. That's what I thought. And now it looks like a sweep. Hawks ATL 67 says never compare D Mitch to Baby Wade. He ain't that. And he came back up and said the Knicks are just on another level.
Yeah, I don't know who compared him to Dwayne Wade, but
he says the Knicks are on another level. And then he also says that Harden, with the disappearing act, it never fails. I agree. I mean, it's the way the Knicks are beating these teams, they're tearing down organizations. All right, we getting into that. Let's roll into that, because one follow-up question, Neil, I really have to ask you is this. And Hawk ATL 678 brought it up. Are the Knicks historically this good, Leo, or are they benefiting from a weak Eastern Conference? Holla at me.
Yeah, look, we that good. We are dominating the East because we're that good. The Knicks we don't fit the aesthetic of modern super team culture. We don't fit that aesthetic. For a lot of years, the NBA has told y'all that y'all needed super teams. Y'all needed Kevin Durant to go to the 73-win Warriors team. Y'all needed this super team. Y'all needed that super team. And super teams has not proven to be effective when it comes to winning a championship, because outside a LeBron James-led super team, don't even count Golden State, they already won without Kevin Durant, and after Kevin Durant, it's not effective. But still, we don't have that aesthetic. We don't even have 2 of the top 10 players in the league. Right? Brunson is a star. Cat is a very good player. But look, one of the things that we did was we made a polarizing investment into 2 quality, very good wing players, in Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. And I believe that those 2 moves in particular has paid dividends in the playoffs. Yes, we gave up 5 first-round picks. Not popular. Not a popular move. People hated it at that time. People still don't like it today. Right? OG Anunoby, we gave up 2 players in the deal. We gave up homegrown talent for OG Anunoby and RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. But if you look at this series in particular, they have been the underlying factors here. Because look, on paper, exclude what we already know, right? Exclude these 3 games that were played. Let's pretend that we was entering this matchup again from scratch. The Cavaliers and the Knicks match up well together. They have their guard that can score. They got 2 shot creators in James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. They got 2 bigs and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley that had a good playoffs thus far. That literally can match up with our bigs and should probably win the matchup when you think about it. They have depth. We have more depth, yeah, sure. But the difference is the wings. We've been putting Bill to ass. Mikal Bridges has been doing his thing. Even when the shot is not falling, and it has been falling lately, he still can impact on the defensive end. OG Anunoby, same thing. So we have those 2 guys. Cleveland don't have that. They don't match up well in that department. And that's why I never liked the move to get rid of DeAndre Hunter, because even though they ended up with Dennis Schroeder, and you could argue Dennis Schroeder was what they needed against the Pistons because of that defense. They needed a guy like Dennis Schroeder. You can argue they needed Dennis Schroeder in the Raptors series. They don't need him in this series. He's not making an impact in this series. He only played 9 minutes in game 3.
Really
so they could have used a guy like DeAndre Hunter, thinking bigger picture here. So for me, that's the difference here. So when we come about this, oh, the East is weak. No, it's not. First of all, the Western Conference has always been superior to the Eastern Conference, right? So that's not no big difference here. The reality is the Hawks was 18-2 down the stretch in the regular season. They was up 2-1 in the series. Guess what? BTA, belt to ass. We knocked them out, right? We haven't lost since. Philly, they beat a very good Boston team. Lee was on the show, was on my show. Boston, yeah, they going with the chip. Everybody, Boston, woohoo! Jason Tatum is back. Oh yeah, throw the parade. Guess what? They beat Boston in the 7-game series. They won 3 games on their home floor, and we made easy work out of them. Listen, we beat a team so bad, we questioning like, yo, did they even deserve to be here? Same thing with Cleveland. They beat a 60-win Pistons team, but because we look so dominant, it's hard to believe. People can't even fathom that the Knicks are this good. But guess what? Fathom it. Because guess what? We are about to be in the finals, baby.
Yeah. Now, look, you Nick, y'all are happy. Y'all are really happy doing your dance. I will give the Knicks some credit, though, Leo. Largest point differential, plus 225 in any 10-game winning streak in league history. Right, regular season or playoff. I'll give them credit. Record winning 10-game streak, 10 consecutive games, a franchise record, and the 10th most. 10 other teams have done that, so great. And then they're closing out teams, right? Only team in NBA history to close out in the closeout game to beat teams by over 30 points. They beat the Hawks by 51, and they beat the 76ers by 30. And then 3-point barrage. Tied an NBA postseason record with 3 points in a quarter, 11, and a franchise record, 25 in a game. So they're balling. They're balling. I give the Knicks a lot of credit. They're balling. But come on, Leo. Look, the East is weak. I mean, you look at the playoff teams. I mean, come on. The East is weak. Philly, you got Joel Embiid down there pulling his leg down the court, one-legged down the court. And it's a shell of himself. Paul George is done. Then you look at the Cavs. I knew the Cavs weren't any good. I mean, I told you it was a wrap if the Knicks played the Cavs. The Pistons would have been a better matchup because defensively they play, but they're gutless. They don't have a number one option really. Cade is you call him that, but Cade fades down the stretch as well. So when you look at the Eastern Conference, I give the Knicks credit for what they're doing because they're putting up historic numbers. I'll give them credit. I just read those off. But if you want to tell me that the competition is the greatest and the highest level, I can't agree with that because I didn't think the Cavs would do anything, and they're not doing anything. And I think the Knicks steamroll into the finals. I will say they're playing great basketball, though. They're playing very well as a team. And they have a closer. They have someone that can get them back in a game as Jalen Brunson did in that first game. And when there is a time to stop a drought or a run, you got Brunson who can do it. And if you have a player like that, similar to SGA, similar to what Wemby should be doing for the Spurs, you're always in it. So I give them credit for that, Leo.
I mean, look, the Knicks, the goalpost is always going to move. All right. Back in it. Listen, I don't want to give a history lesson here, right? Because I don't. But when we made the OG trade, I knew we won the trade then. A lot of people said we gave up too much. Mikal Bridges, we gave up too much. And arguably, we probably done. Like, I would have loved to get Mikal Bridges for 3 first-round picks instead of 5. So, yeah, I could understand that. But clearly, in the playoffs, especially after that cold streak, he's been worth every single penny thus far as production. Mikal Bridges is balling, okay? Point blank, period. He's knowing when to pick his shots and his spots to be able to be aggressive offensively. He just has a good feel of the game right now on both sides. OG Anunoby, I mentioned him already. Karl Anthony Towns. Everybody called it an even trade. No, it wasn't an even trade. No, it was not. Look at the Timberwolves. They haven't been back since. Okay. So again, we never getting our credits. Jalen Brunson overpaid when we first signed him. Like, no, Jalen Brunson made the sacrifice for us to
Yeah,
be here right now. He
I
took
agree.
a pay cut,
I agree.
okay, because he realized that, look, I'm an undersized guard. So I got to think big picture here. If I want to be a champion, which is really more than just getting paid, I'm going to need the roster to be properly built around my skill sets and my faults. So because he took that pay cut, he allowed for us to have OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, two quality wings, who was the key difference in this series. So
That's a
that's
good
why the
point.
team is built so perfectly. We went all in for this. This is what we paid for, and we are very versatile. Like I said, game one, we lost every single department. Rebounding, free throws. We still find a way to win the game. Jalen Brunson took over the fort. Okay, game two was a catch show. Okay, we get help from Josh Hart knocking down multiple shots, right? Then we get help from Clarkson. Then we get help from Shamet. Okay, Shamet is out here cooking. We can beat teams in a multitude of ways, and there's not a lot of teams that have that same versatility. So we need
I
our
agree. No,
respect.
I give you credit. I give you credit and great points. But the Cavs, I mean, you don't leave any NBA player that wide open. I mean, shit. Josh Hart was so wide open. He could dribble, refocus, brush his braids down, and then shoot the ball. He was that wide open. You don't leave people that wide open. So the whole Cavs team to me is just. I mean, it's time for them to get someone that can lead them. LeBron James more in my book would be a great pickup. But this. You're absolutely right. I like the parts on the Knicks. I like where they're going. It'll be interesting when they get in the Western. I mean, they get in the NBA Finals. When either team, and as Hawk ATL 67, the Spurs and OKC about to beat each other up in the Western Conference Finals. And let that series go 7. I got the Knicks in 6, huh? Okay. You're getting a little bit uppity there, but we'll see. But no, you make great points. And for me, it's like this. Mike Brown doesn't get enough credit for what he's done and how he's pulled the strings behind the scene and you know who he plays, and he has a great feel for who he wants to play in certain situations. So I credit him, and you have to give him Knicks credit. I will say this: you only can beat who's in front of you, and the Knicks have done that. So I think the Knicks are well on their way to making the NBA Finals. Congratulations, Lil. Congratulations, New York. We'll see what happens in the Western Conference. Let's switch over to the Western Conference real quick, Lil. Game 3 last night, the Spurs and the Thunder. What are your thoughts about the game last night as the Thunder pick up a big win in San Antonio to take a 2-1 lead?
I mean, look, the Thunder have every advantage in this series over the Spurs. They're deeper, they're more physical, they're winning the 3-point battle. The Spurs are allowing Alex Caruso to look like Steph out there on the floor. They have a better bench, but the Spurs do have an advantage, and it's a major advantage. They have Victor Wembanyama, but it doesn't help when your biggest advantage is not using his biggest advantage, and that's what I'm not seeing from Wemby operating in the paint. He's not doing it, and I think the head coach is not doing a good job of scheming him, in the paint to try to attack and impose his will. I also think it's a combination of Wemby not trying to do it, right? I think that's the guy's 7 foot and he's out here dribbling, and from the outskirts, it looks cute. Oh, wow, the 7 foot guy out here dribbling like that. Oh my God, look how far the game has evolved. But he's 7'4". Impose your will. And he's not doing that. In game 1, Wemby took 2 3-pointers. Only 2. One was a horrible shot that just happened and went in and made him look like the hero. Clearly was one of the pivotal shots in the game, but it was a horrible shot to me initially. Like he was Steph. It went in. So obviously he looked like the hero. Oh, Wemby, yeah, he deserved it. He was a monster, but he also did the other things right. He also imposed his will in that game in particular. I mean, the Thunder wasn't even attacking him in the paint at all. Their shots was altered. Even listen, he impacted that game totally. But then in game 2, you look at the numbers here, and he's taking 12 in 2 games, game 2 and 3. So this guy's the tallest dude on the floor. You could throw the ball, he could throw it in, throw him a lob, something. He could get a foul, but he's not doing that. He's behind the arc a lot. So to me, that's the problem here. Their biggest advantage is not using his biggest advantage. And I think also when you look at the Thunder, they're just whooping the Spurs when it comes to, outscoring, in the non-Wemby minutes. So all right, it's one thing when he's not on the floor, you can't really stand toe-to-toe with the Thunder because in those minutes when he's on the floor, they whooping y'all. That's why it's even more important that when he's on the floor, he dominates the game and he takes over the game and imposes will on the game. And then Alex Caruso, again, I want to get back to him. He's been the most impactful player in this series. He's just there. He's always there with the ball. He's always making a play, a little play, whether it's him going out for a loose ball and throwing it off for the Spurs play. He's always making that key play, and then he's knocking down shots now. Now he's even more lethal now because he's 14 out of 23, 60% in this whole entire series. And the Spurs keep leaving him open because now they got to make a decision because they so focused and obsessed with SGA that Alex Caruso is wide open and he's knocking down the shots to make them pay. So the Spurs really, they got a lot of adjustments to make in this game 3 that's about to come on. I hope to see those adjustments.
Yeah, great points. Look, I said it when we talked about this before. It was how the Spurs would win the series was very easy for me. No one can stop Wemby in the post. He has excellent moves. He's 7'4". No one, but he doesn't get in the post enough. That's the biggest problem. If he doesn't go down to the post, they're going to lose the series. I said it when the series began. It's not a secret. Look, it's all cute what Wemby can do. I love it. To see it, like you said, Lil, is it's phenomenal. The guy that big that can handle, but you're not going to win the NBA championship or this series with Wemby shooting threes, with Wemby shooting more shots outside of the paint than in the paint. You're just not going to win. They have phenomenal guard play, Castle and Vassell. They're both great, and they can get whatever they want if Wemby touches the ball in the post and they move that ball very quickly. They haven't done that, and that's why they lose it, right? And look, they shoot way too many threes, get the ball into Wemby, let Wemby be the most dominant player in the series. And we talked about it. If Wemby goes in the post, he'll be the MVP for the next 3 or 4 years if he develops the courage, Lil, in my opinion, because he seems to drift out to the wing all the time. So you got to have courage to be beat up down there and getting hit and falling to the ground. You have to have courage down there. And that's where San Antonio will improve. I see what Hawks ATL said about them growing as a team. No, this is not about being young. This is about testing the manhood and character and getting Wemby to play in the post. If he plays in the post tonight, you'll see a different result. If he doesn't, they'll be down 3-1, Lil.
No, I agree. And it's all about mindset. Look, Hartenstein has been doing a very good job on Wemby. Now, he's getting away with a lot. We'll talk about that in a few minutes in our subtopic here. But he's still doing a very good job on Wemby. It's up to Wemby's mentality to go in the post and take on Hartenstein. And it's also up to the coaching to run plays to get him in the post as well. Another thing that's been alarming when it comes to the Spurs, and listen, I'm all Spurs right now because I'm a Knicks fan. And I'll be honest with you, I don't want to see OKC. Not because I don't believe in my team. I just don't want to see them. Because all this, failing, and we'll talk about that. I'm not even going to get started on that right now. We're about to talk about that. I want to see the Spurs. So guess what? I'm rooting for the Spurs. I'm giving them the blueprint. Stephen Castle, his turnovers has been crazy. He got it, I believe, 11 times in game 1, he coughed up the ball. 9 turnovers in game 2. He got to be better. So overall, the Spurs are not 100%. You got De'Aaron Fox hopping on one leg. My guy Dylan Harper, with that, I believe a hamstring a little bit. Something is going on with him. They're not 100%, so they got to make sure they do the little things right. They got to win the little things. They can't have the turnovers, right? They can't have Wemby not or being scared to go in the post. They need to do the little things better. They cannot beat OKC not winning the little things. If OKC's out hustling them, that's what the key was in game 2. Because they played well in game 2 enough to try to steal that game. But when I watched that game 2, was the Thunder saying, you know what? I just wanted a little bit more. I'm going to do the extra plays.
We won one. Yep.
And that's why they won it. So the Spurs, again, game 4, critical. I expect them to bounce back. I expect Wemby to play with a level of aggression. I expect them to not turn the ball over as much. And they should definitely do the little things better at home. Because if they don't, they will go down 3-1.
The health of De'Aaron Fox is key to this game. I think ball handling wise, how he threatens the defense for San Antonio more than anybody. I think he's huge. If he's healthy enough to play and not hobbling, I like San Antonio tonight. But when you don't even see pick and rolls with Fox and Wemby, they have an advantage. They have a great ball handler who is very quick off the dribble, and you have Wemby rolling to the basket. That, to me, that is just, you could do that all night, Leo. You could do it all night long, and nobody's going to be able to stop it with Fox's speed and Wemby's ability around the basket. They don't do that. They put up a lot of threes. They have a lot of individual talent. I mean, the sixth man of the year, Johnson, you got Fauci, you got they have a lot of individual talent, but it's about winning the game, Leo. And it's about what you need to do to win the game. And then I blame, to your point, coaching matters in that situation. Slow it down. Call plays for Wemby. Call the pick and roll for Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. That's the way they can win the series. They're certainly capable of winning a series. It's about the little things to do to make sure you win the series, and they're just not doing those things. So it's going to be very, very interesting how Wemby comes out. And if he gets in the post, and if he has more post shot attempts than out on the floor, then we'll see. If he has more out on the floor, I think they'll lose. If he has more shots in the post, I think San Antonio has a good opportunity to tie the series at 2-2. It's going to be very, very interesting. And Lil, I'll give you the closing remarks before we jump to our next topic, if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to get into this style of play.
All right, let's do it. So our fourth topic, we're going to stay with OKC and San Antonio. But my question to you, Lil, is SGA getting a friendly whistle from the refs in the San Antonio Thunder series? Is how he plays, are the refs giving him the superstar treatment? Is he getting a friendly whistle? And I'll throw it back to you, Leo.
Yeah, it's obvious. And, I'm going to give it to you real. Listen, I believe it was game 2. It might have been game 2 or 3. It might have been somewhere, probably both of the games, right? I'm watching the game, and it was one night in particular, it might have been game 2, where I went to bed with the biggest headache of my life. Okay? That style of play gave me a headache. All the whistles, the stoppage of the game. Yo, you realize I got work in the morning, right? You do realize that I got work in the morning. You slowing down the game, right? Like, I don't understand it. It's annoying to watch. They're calling everything. And to me, it's a big disadvantage. You look at the other end, Hartenstein has been doing good on Wemby. I'll give him that. But he's holding him. He's hooking his arm. And they're not calling that. They could call that every single time. And they're not calling it.
I agree with that.
So to me, the way how I look at it, and I said the same thing about the NFL, right? When it comes to Mahomes and him getting hit and getting all the calls, I do believe when a player gets to a certain status, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the NBA, they start to get calls. And I do believe, and this is conspiracy land that we in right now, that it comes from the higher ups. I don't think it's just the referees, just being bad at their jobs. I don't think it is, because they're the best referees. They call in the playoffs for a reason. So I don't believe it's about them being good at their jobs. I just believe that they're getting buzzed down from Adam Silver to say, you know what, give him calls. I do believe that. The same thing with Mahomes, because they was getting all the calls. And then when they fell off, they wasn't getting the same calls that they were getting before. So the same thing is happening here. Wemby is still young. Again, I said that's why he got discriminated against when it came to the MVP conversation. He had no shot to win that award because they discriminated against him because of his age, and he hasn't did nothing yet, the year previous to get that love, to get that support. SGA has. He won it, right? He won the championship. So now he's getting the calls. Now he's getting the love from the media. I think is transferable to on the court as well. I believe if Wemby next year, this time, he's going to be getting those calls because he's building his case right now. He's just not getting it this year because they don't want to give it to him. So to me, yes, the way how the game is called is very annoying. This style of play, going to the free throw line every single second. And I'm worried about that as a Knicks fan because I remember when we played, this is my last point, against the Thunder in the regular season, I believe SGA had 4 fouls in the first half, and then there was something where he should have got a 5th foul and they didn't call it, and it was blatant because they didn't want to give him a 5th foul so he could foul out the game. So to me, it's little nuances like that that's evidence that to me is just bigger than basketball. I think it's an Adam Silver thing. I think that's what he wants. He wants to, he knows he's the face of the NBA in some regards as far as success and whatnot, and they just want more points in the game. That's just how they're doing it.
Yeah. First of all, 3647. Look, bring something to the table besides the ignorant quotes. I mean, if you can talk sports, if you can talk about the series, come on with it, bro. I like to do that, so bring it to it. Bring some substance, my brother. But anyway, Leo, let's let me jump in here. I don't think that the league, in my opinion, would want Wemby in the finals more than SGA. Wemby is the next star. Wemby is the up and coming phenomenon. They would want him in the finals more than SGA and the Thunder, I would say. So I don't buy the conspiracy theory part of it. Look, free throw attempts through 3 games. It's true that SGA leads in a series with 27, but Wemby has 25. Castle has 25 as well. It's not like SGA is getting all the calls and Wemby's not getting calls. We've been to the line 25 times. Castle's been there 25 times. So it's when the pace slows down, and you're calling a lot of fouls, it's going to favor the Thunder because the Thunder has that ultimate guy that can close the game. That's SGA. He can score and he can get fouls. And now with the doubling of him, to your point, Caruso is killing him. I mean, he's killing them. So they have a closer and San Antonio doesn't. I don't see it as he's getting a friendly whistle. I mean, his up and under move, Leo, and he gets people up in the air. Those are fouls, though, Leo. Those are fouls. He gets it up, you jump into him, that's a foul. It may not look pretty. He does it 3-4 times a game, and he gets a call every time. So those are fouls. Now, we can't say that they're not. So it's not that big of a foul disparity as far as what Wemby is getting and what SGA is getting. It just looks that way because Wemby sort of faded down the stretch. And if he would get in the post more, he would get more foul opportunities. But I just don't think that. Now, I will agree with you on the Hartenstein issue. Hartenstein is roughing him up, and that's probably why Wemby is drifting more out to the post. He's really roughing him up. And so Wemby has to make a concerted effort to say, no, I'm the baddest player on the planet. I can score inside, outside, and I'm finna foul Hartenstein out. And anybody else that guards me, that's what Wemby needs to do. And he hasn't done that. First game he did. These last 2 games, not so much.
I mean, look, Lee, number one, firstly, you got trolls in your comments, and this idiot here is getting on my last damn nerves.
Don't worry about it,
that's
man.
number
Don't worry
one,
about it.
right?
Let's keep it moving.
Clearly, he don't know anything about the game of basketball, but all he want to do is talk shit. His mama should have swallowed him, okay? Literally. All right, he's probably a dude in his basement that don't got a job, that just want to sit here and troll on people's platforms. Idiot, right? But anyway,
he's all good. Keep it going.
I ain't gonna let him mess up the flow.
All right.
Number one,
all right.
Right? Number one, when you look at this game, and the problem that I have is that, to me, like even last night in the game 3, Cavaliers and the Knicks, I thought the game was real. It was called very tight. Like they were calling a lot of this stuff, right? And to me, I think the playoffs shouldn't be as tight. I don't think so. I think that you should be able to hold the whistle a little bit in the playoffs, allow for some physicality. And that's why the game, to me, is not as enjoyable as it once was in the Jordan days. That's why a lot of people keep complaining about the product of the NBA, because anytime you hit somebody, it's a whistle, foul. That's not a fun style to watch. It's very exhausting. Listen, the series started off amazing. It was like two heavyweights, Ali Frazier going back and forth. It was a spectacular game one. I thought game two, for the most part, was a very good game. But then we got to that part of the game, and it just sucked the life out of me watching the game. And then I became tired. I had a headache or whatever. So again, he's getting a lot of calls. And I think the Thunder is going to have to adjust. Listen, they're paying a lot of attention to SGA. SGA does have them in a frenzy. And look, I got to give credit where credit is due. That's SGA greatness as well. Yeah. But they're so directly focused on him that they are leaving guys open on the three-point line, including Alex Caruso, who's making them pay. So I'm very curious tonight to see how the Spurs come out, if this affects them and they mental. This game is going to tell us a lot about the Spurs.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they have to understand that the refs are letting this physical play. You know, during the regular season, there was freedom of movement. Now it's sort of, you can hand check you up into people, you know, so they're really calling the game in the playoffs really different than where they called it in the regular season. So you have to adjust, right? You just have to adjust. And the team that adjusts more and that's better fit to adjust is OKC, because that's their style, right? They have a closer, as I keep saying. So that's their style. We just need to see San Antonio take the mentality of, we're going to post. The only real post player they have really is Wemby. The rest of the guys are all perimeter players. They're good off the dribble, but they're all perimeter players. So they're going to have to post Wemby up, and that's coaching. Get him in the box and let him start to draw fouls and let him be more physical. And so it's a cat and mouse series that if the referees continue to let them sort of restrict the freedom of movement a little bit, it favors the Thunder. And San Antonio is going to have to play a more physical, slow down style. And as of right now, they haven't showed that they could do it, Leo, on a consistent basis. That's why they've struggled, and they struggled in game three.
I agree, man. And again, we're going to see how they come out tonight and if they make the adjustments. But I do agree with your last point about Wemby just imposing his will, because he should be able to get calls. He's unguardable. He's the tallest dude on the floor. And we'll see if he can be able to impose his will in this series. Because I think in order for the Spurs to win this series, he's going to have to do just that.
Yeah. Our final topic, Leo, before we get out of here, because I know everybody wants to see this game, and I definitely want to see it as well. We're going to turn to the NFL real quick, man. We're going to turn to the NFL. Over the weekend, President Trump had a rally in the New York metro area, and the Giants quarterback, Jaxson Dart, was in the headlines. He introduced President Trump at the rally, and one of his teammates, first-round draft pick, Abdul Cater, had a little pushback. I'm going to play this video, Leo, and then we'll jump back.
Abdul Cater is going viral after calling out his own quarterback, Jaxson Dart, following a controversial moment involving President Trump in New York. During the event, Jaxson Dart introduced Trump ahead of a speech, and the clip immediately started spreading across social media, especially after Abdul Cater reposted it with the message, "Thought this shit was AI. What we doing, man?" Honestly, a lot of fans were shocked seeing a former first-round pick publicly react to his own quarterback like that. Usually situations like this stay private behind the scenes, so the fact Abdul posted it publicly instantly turned this into a huge online discussion. Some people online are agreeing with Abdul and saying the situation felt random and unexpected, while others are defending Jaxson Dart and saying athletes should be allowed to support whoever they want politically. What also makes the situation crazier is that Jaxson is expected to be one of the faces of the Giants organization moving forward as the starting quarterback, while Abdul Cater is also one of the team's biggest young stars.
Here, let me put that mic back in there. There we go. And so, Leo, I wanted to jump back in and get your comments about the video we just showed, the Jaxson Dart introduction of President Trump, and the Abdul Cater tweet. What are your thoughts?
You can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, perfect. I mean, look, man, to me, when you talk about this topic, the NFL, I think in general, and players in it, they want you to stay out of politics when you don't promote their politics, right? I think that's where we can start. First of all, when you look at Abdul Cater, I'm looking at his tweet and I'm just asking, what's the point of his tweet? You know, I don't understand it because number one, whether you like him or not, Donald Trump won the popular vote. So clearly, you know, there's support there. Now, this doesn't have to get into if you're Republican, if you're Democratic. He won the popular vote. The election wasn't rigged. He won it. So I'm looking at his tweet like, you know, what's the point? What are we trying to convey here? Because I feel like a lot of players and a lot of people in general right now, anytime your politics differ from the norm of what society has told you politics should look like, especially in the black community, it almost feels like a betrayal. Everybody look at it like a betrayal. Oh, you know, Jaxson Dart betrayed me. How? That's his guy. Do you know that people to be able to speak for a president at a rally, that's a privilege. In the same way that how in sports, when you win a championship, you get invited to the White House. But now we live in this culture where that's not a right anymore. You got Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Oh no, I pass. Devontae Smith. That's a high honor right there. I always wanted to visit the White House. I just want to see how it looked. Right. So to be honest with you, I don't understand what Abdul Cater, why he tweeted what he tweeted. I think we live in a society where politics is just splitting people down the middle. And I don't know why it is. Because to be honest with you, every president the last couple of years to me has sold out the American people. To me, right? Obama was supposed to be the savior for black people. He did everything for the alphabet boys and whatnot. Clearly, right? So nothing for black people, but yet we go out there and make excuses. Oh, well, because, you know, he's a black president, they're not going to pass certain things and they're going to give him a hard time. So we give him an out. No, he didn't do jack for black people, right? So he sold this out. Biden. Let's start with Biden. All these immigrants walking into this daggone, woohoo, yeah, you know, all that. You know what I'm saying? Not vetted, nothing. Don't even know if they military age people, what they're here to do from other countries that we have beef with, nothing, right? He sold this out. Donald Trump, MAGA, you know, make America great again. You know, we're not going to get into no new wars. Guess what? We're in a war right now in Iran. So again, what are we fighting for? What are we disagreeing? Who's betraying who? Abdul Cater Jaxson Dart is not betraying your locker room, bruh, because he want to post or he want to, you know, speak at a rally. He's not betraying you. Who's betraying you is the system. That's who's betraying you. The system that makes you believe that you have to pick a side. When in all actuality, these are two birds of the same feather. And that's my take.
Yeah, I mean, good point, some of those, Leo. This is what I'll say. It's just like anything. Everybody, we have freedoms in this country. Everybody has the right to do what they want. You can support any candidate you want. You can go to the rallies. You can do all the things necessary. If you feel that's your candidate, you support them. I have no problems with that. People have freedoms to do that. However, there are always consequences to everything that you do as well, right? There are always consequences, right? And so, you know, Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee. He wasn't disrespecting the flag, but he took a knee for social justice. And look what it got him. There are consequences, right? There are consequences. Never played it down again. Never played it down again, no matter what. He has never played and never been back in the NFL. So there are consequences to everything you do. And Jaxson Dart, that's your candidate. You feel honored to do that. Hey, that's your thing. I have no problems with it if that's what you want to do. However, you cannot have a problem also when one of your teammates pushes back on what are you doing, because he has different views, right? Or teammates. So when you look at it, that could drive a void in the Giants locker room. Whereas Jaxson Dart initially was fun loving, doing the gritty, doing all that stuff, right? Doing the gritty, looking good, you know, wearing a chain like all of the other guys and all that. Now his players may see him in a different light. That's why you need to stay politic neutral in these locker rooms. Politics neutral. You have to focus on what you need to focus on, even during the season and in the off season. And too many times, it wasn't like this years ago, but recently, right? Too many times these things have crept up. Think about this. John Harbaugh last year went to a Trump rally before the season last year with the Ravens. And now all of these different things come up. Things are reported in the media. Players now, they don't like Harbaugh, it's reported. Something's going on, and he's out for whatever reason. These things happen. And when you bring it in, there are consequences to everything you do, Leo. And to Mr. Jaxson Dart, there are consequences. Now, I know Abdul sort of squashed it because probably somebody told him to do it. But you can't tell me that there's not going to be lingering resentment from him and other players in that locker room.
And my point is, what's the point? I'm not saying that Abdul Cater was, he shouldn't have the ability to tweet, right? Just in the same way that I wouldn't criticize Jaxson Dart for who he speaks at a rally for. What's the point? What are we debating about? What are we fighting about? You see, if Harbaugh could go to a Trump rally, if Jaxson Dart could go to a Trump rally, and we put that under a microscope, all right, we different religions, right? Most people, some people go to the mosque, some people go to the church, or we putting that under a microscope. Is there consequences for that? Clearly, Abdul Cater is a Muslim. You could tell by his first name. You could tell by what he wore during the draft when he got selected to the NFL. Clearly, he was able to be expressive because he wanted to show the world that that's his religion. Fine. Am I going to fuss about that? No, I'm not. So it's the same thing when it comes to political. Political and religion is two different things. I mean, two of the same things. It's a little different, but it's similar because everybody believes that what they believe is the correct way. Christians believe that if you question anything about the Bible, that you are, you're inferior and you're going to hell, right? Whether you're a Muslim and you're a good person, whether you're Hindu and a good person, doesn't matter. You're going straight to hell. Why? Because you don't believe in my God. The same way how it could be when it comes to politics, because you like Trump and there's this narrative that's pumping out there that Trump is a racist, and guess what? You must be too. Screw all the politics. Screw what politics he ran on and whatnot. You're racist because guess what? You like Trump. But what Abdul Cater got to realize is that whether or not you believe that's true, Trump has black friends and allies. Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, I believe a couple other black people as well. So this narrative, at the end of the day, is narrative. So again, when you talk about the NFL and Colin Kaepernick, you brought up Colin Kaepernick. There was consequences, like you said, because what he did was political. When he took a knee, was political, right? And look, at the end of the day, the NFL, they had this narrative or whatever, and they suspended him and whatnot. Cool, but now it's cool again. Now it's cool to kneel. They encourage you to kneel. Now they get political. So again, we cannot say politics should be out of sports when it doesn't fall in line with our politics. So when Black Lives Matter is painting on the field, and the rainbow colors is painted on the field, and my guy from the NBA that just got let go because of his remarks about the LGBTQ and the alphabet, again, it's somebody controlling the narrative, and we can't do that. And that's why I always like when players express how they feel, because guess what? This is America. This is the core principle of America, that anybody could come here and work and make a good life for themselves. Anybody could worship who the hell they want to worship. And in some ways, if you want tampons in certain boys' bathrooms, I guess that's, even though I don't believe in that, that's not my place to decide whether or not there should be tampons in boys' bathrooms, even though I don't think it makes sense to do that. But guess what? If you believe it, you believe what you want, just like how you believe there's a God in the sky. I mean, at the end of the day, and my point here, I know I'm going on a tangent here, I don't get Abdul Cater's tweet. I don't know why he think it was supposed to be AI, why he think he felt betrayed. At the end of the day, politicians, Democrats, Republicans have been betraying the American people for over the last decade. And that's just what it is.
When you bring politics into that locker room, when you open it up, see that this is what people have to understand, and what Jaxson Dart needs to understand. When you open it up, then you are not necessarily forcing, but you are people to take sides. When you open that up in a professional locker room, and I don't care what anybody says, there will be consequences to that. We're cool now. No, you're not. Your coach probably told you, your GM probably told you don't need that out in the public, but you still feel the way that you feel, or else he wouldn't have tweeted it, right? And so there are going to be more people that are like, oh man, I thought Jaxson was cool. He's rolling that way. Now, he has the right to do it. There's no doubt about that. I was in the military. I served in the military for the right for people to do this. I'm not saying he doesn't have the right to do it. I champion that. But there are consequences to what you do. And you're right. Colin Kaepernick was political. That was a political consequence. The Hardy kid in basketball, I think his name was. It was there was consequences. He got cut immediately. There are consequences, and certainly Jaxson Dart, to some of your African American teammates, they may feel a certain way, and they may look at you a different way. That's why when you bring it into the locker room, when you put it out there for all the world to see and all the news media to see, there's going to be some backlash. We'll see how that really evolves as the season starts in the NFL. I'll give you the last word, Lil, before we get out of here.
Yeah, in conclusion, I just think that, again, freedom of speech, freedom of, if he wants to go at a rally, let him go at a rally, whatever he does is, we look at celebrities and we take things too personal. That's what we do. That's our problem. They did the same thing with Nicki Minaj when she joined the Republican. Oh, Nicki Minaj is this and that, never put these people in high regards. If Megan Thee Stallion, whatever her name is, can twerk at a daggone presidential rally and people think it's not cute, then guess what? People think it's not cute. It is what it is. So when it comes to Abdul Carter, focus on football. Obviously, the Giants have a lot of optimism. And the last thing you want to do is cause division in the locker room. Because what Jaxson Dart did, it didn't really, his intent wasn't to cause division, but you highlighting it is what's going to cause division. No matter how you try to clean it up and act like y'all the best of friends, no, your reaction to what he did on his own in the offseason is going to make it a problem in the locker room by your tweet. It's the reaction to it. Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick took a knee. We had a reaction to it. And the reaction is what caused separation. That's when you had Ed Reed coming out and kneeling right after that, where everybody else was standing. Right? It's the reaction to it. Kyrie Irving, I don't want to take the kill shot, the vaccination. I don't want to do that. Right? Well, guess what? The reaction of his teammates is what causes friction in the locker room, because he did an act. He made his decision. We all have choices. We all make them. But it's the reaction that caused the trickle-down effect. And that's just what it is.
It's the introduction of the act too, Lil. We have to, because just as Jaxson Dart has the right to go to the Trump rally and introduce him, Abdul Carter has that very same right to say and tweet that I'm against it. So who was the conduit that introduced what to the locker room? I guess that's what I can say. I think they have to sit down and have a conversation with the entire team, because again,
it's madness,
that's going to cause problems.
It's madness. You're in the NFL with people from different cultures, right? People with different religions, different political views, and the fact that we live in this society that we get sensitive when people don't see politics the way how we see it. That's the problem with this country. That right there. Abdul Carter is a microcosm of exactly what's wrong with society today. He just literally put it to the forefront right there.
I disagree with that. But let me say this about because I think Abdul Carter has just as much right as Jaxson Dart to voice his opinion. Obviously, when Jaxson Dart accepted the invitation, he knew that this was a controversial thing to do. This wasn't like just a random, I'm going to do it. He knew that this was going to be controversial. So he knew that there's potentially going to be some backlash to it. He wouldn't have accepted that in that regard, being naive enough to say that it wasn't. But let me say this: the one thing about the NFL is always about the shield. That's why the dress code is the way it is. That's why they don't let you wear certain things. That's why they don't let you do A, B, and C. And people understand that if you want to stay in the NFL. And so that's how the NFL views it. This is more of a team thing right now. It's not necessarily a whole NFL thing. The Giants are going to have to get out ahead of it.
You see,
before it becomes a problem. And, as a Cowboys
this is my last point officially.
But they're going to definitely have to get right.
Yeah, this is my last point officially. You see, the problem is not really politics, right? The problem is we are so dumbed down to the point where we look at certain things and get offended by it. We wasn't getting offended about what your political views were before. Now we are, because now we live in a sensitive society. Now we live in a trolling society. Thus, look at your comments. You have this idiot, HDH. Listen, he got a funny name. Right, we don't have the real names anymore. We have the trolling names, right? We just, everything is little, everything is HDH, FS31. Like, where's the context there, bro? Yeah. I'm the real Lil. I stand for something. You right here got all these numbers and letters. You're an idiot. Okay, we have idiots like this guy in the comments that all they do all day long is be on somebody's platform and troll. Like, they got time. Listen, I don't even got time to be trolling other people's platforms. You know what I'm saying? Because I got something to do with my life, whereas this idiot here does. So the fact that Abdul Cater has the time to worry about what Jaxson Dart is doing at a rally, to me, it makes no sense. And I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to tweet. I'm not saying Jaxson Dart don't have a right to do what he do. But again, I don't get it. I don't understand it. What is Jaxson Dart doing to you as an individual? He's just out here doing what he felt was right at the time, and you should leave it alone.
Yeah, I think it's about what people and some of the things that you said, I do agree with, Lil, when you look at the sensitivity of people now. But people have taken that, the line in the sand has been drawn with this president, and you see it every day. When someone comes out, there's a backlash, and that's unfortunate. But the line has been drawn, and that's something Jaxson Dart's going to have to deal with. Look, guys, this has been a great show. My guy, Lil, always brings it. I love Lil because he's going to bring his unfiltered opinions. That's what I like on this show. You bring it, you shoot it, we talk about it, you fans chime in. It's been a great show. As always, like and subscribe. Tell a friend about it. I need some more subscriptions, guys. Get out there and subscribe to the show. Lil, tell the people how they can see you every week doing your thing, man.
Definitely the Real Lil Show. We out here, Real Lil TV. We be producing content on there, and we just be giving it real, man. We don't be going with the narratives. We don't be walking at their line. We just shoot it. That's what we do. We like Klay Thompson. Excuse me, not Klay Thompson, the old Klay Thompson. We like Steph Curry. We just shoot it, and that's what we do here. So, and we slay trolls, right? So we the troll slayer here as well. We don't do it trolls. So, yeah, Lee, thank you for having me on, and until next time, man.
Yeah, it's been a great show. This is my guy, man. I love him, man. I love doing the show with him because, the real and Real Lil is real, and I love it. I love a guy that's real, that we can talk sports, we can disagree or agree, but we come at it and we love the debate. So, guys, for my guy Real Lil, I'm Lee Jones. Let's watch this game 4, see what the Spurs are going to do. But this has been After the Buzzer Show with Lee Jones. We'll holler at you next week.
Stand up, New York.